The one and only James Succ. Welcome, James. Good to have you here. How you doing?
Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you as well. Right on. Good to finally. Actually, we have a whole secret handshake, but we can't show it on camera.
Because
so just so you know,
it's a secret.
It's a secret. Yeah, we can't give that up. But welcome everyone. Danilo, Colby, good to see you. Ryan, Claire, awesome. Good to see some familiar names and faces in there. So this is good. So we have 3 days, a super fun week planned. I'm so happy that you're here. We'll just kind of click through the schedule if you don't mind.
Sure.
Because we have you this morning for 2 hours from 9 to 11. James Succ from 11 to 1, Alex Benega, with Sarah Stewart. And then also at 1 p.m. we have Kevin Lee. So full day from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Jessica Moon, which I think we've had her on as a guest before. So it's kind of like 2 for 1 from 1 to 3, which is awesome. So. But I'm just super happy to have you here. We do have daily submissions going on this week. So we have 2 challenges the first 2 days. So the daily challenge, you can kind of check that out. Design and prototype a travel blog landing page is what that is. Check that out in the challenge tab. And then we'll have something else for day 2. Day 3, by then you have your portfolio created. You could submit it for portfolio reviews, which is really fun to look at. So I think it's really beneficial.
I'm excited.
And you're totally involved in all of this, by the way.
Oh,
you're gonna help judge the daily challenges.
Oh, I'm on the hook for this?
Yeah, you are. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, because you get to make one person really happy, but then only one person can win for each segment. So you do have a full day. It's all about creating a travel blog experience. Just one screen. Super easy. Check that out in the challenge tab. And yeah, buddy. So, actually not your first time here, but first time live streaming with us.
First time live streaming with you.
Right on.
Yeah.
I want to know, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, sure. Wait, actually, do you mind if I take a quick second and just say hi to my mom and to my wife, Katya? Hi, sweetheart.
Oh, right here. What a good guy.
And I want to say hi to my whole squad over at FabFitFun. Love you guys.
Oh, I love it.
So a little bit about me. My background is in graphic design, and so I've been kind of all over the place. I'm primarily based in Los Angeles. I used to work over at Live Nation on their product team, and then I moved over to work at Disney for a little while on their product team as well. And now I lead the UX team as a principal product designer at my current job, which is FabFitFun.
Yeah, what is FabFitFun?
So it is a subscription box for women focused on beauty, health, and wellness. So it's a seasonal box. We ship 4 boxes a year to our members. It's primarily focused on beauty products, fitness products, helping people live a certain lifestyle. So we've got a lot of different offerings, including the box. We have a kind of video on demand product that we offer. We have an online community. It's like a whole environment.
Yeah, and you're repping. I like it.
Gotta do it.
In the all white. Man, you're just taking the fashion of this place another level. I like it.
Always got to go next level.
You are. Next level, like Michael Shea says, you look great. You're looking fashionable, and I'm excited just to have a well-rounded designer.
Hold on, my wife is telling me to give a shout out to my brother. Hey, GJ.
Okay. Do we have everybody covered?
It's
a family affair today.
A little bit.
I'm okay with it.
Sorry
That's
about
awesome.
that. Sorry, not sorry.
Oh, good. She's active, and she's a great illustrator. So check her work out. Obviously, I think you kind of check out their. She hopefully has a Behance profile. Kind of see your Behance profile as well through the info tab in case you want to check out more of James's work, which is really cool, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, buddy. So, I guess we'll dive into this. What are we going to do today? We'll just switch to your screen and get this party started? What do you think?
Yeah, sure. Sounds great.
Let's do this. Yay, hello, go Google Doc.
Oh, yeah. Oh, super
We're
exciting.
looking at it right now.
Oh, super exciting. Yeah, so a little bit about me. One of my hobbies actually is I'm a really big nerd when it comes to succulent gardening. And one of the things that I realized that totally sucks about the succulent world is that nobody's created an introductory beginner succulent guide. And so that got me to thinking, and of course when Paul and the rest of the team reached out, I was like, what can I create on screen? What can I do for the Adobe Live? And I was like, I've got it. Here's the opportunity for me to create my perfect beginner succulent discovery guide.
Yeah, does that sound good? Does everybody even know what a succulent is? Which, that's another thing, because to a lot of people, they're just plants. You just have plants.
Right.
But I don't even know if you can define succulent for us.
That's really interesting. So when people think succulents, it's just primarily plants that you don't have to water very much, and like
hooray for plants you don't have to water. That's what succulents means.
but like, you know, so I've actually gotten like really deep in the rabbit hole now, so I know so much about different succulents, and I've spent so much money collecting like rare ones.
Oh wow. Oh man.
And so
are you obsessed?
A little bit.
Oh man.
A little bit. And so like what I really wished for when I was first starting out was that there was like a really simple guide that like can introduce people to the kind of most common genuses, because like, you know, kind of similarly to how there's like different types of cars, you got like Hondas and Toyotas, and you have so many different like models of each one. Within every genus of succulents, there's like so many different varieties, and like, to be honest, they're all kind of dope, but like some of them are like super rare and super dope.
Oh, really? I'm excited about seeing some of these, and like you can, you know, hopefully make us like look really smart when we're out and about at a friend's house, being able to say, oh, that's a so-and-so. That would be cool.
Dude, that's like the story of my life. Like every time they're like, oh, I'm like, do you want to see my garden? So yeah, you want me to just go ahead and start kicking it off?
Yeah, man.
If we want to take a look at my sketchbook, actually.
Oh. Go ahead.
Yeah, if we want to take a look at my sketchbook. So what I've gone ahead and done is like, I've kind of already outlined a bunch of things. So here I was kind of like already just thinking through the different screens and like types of information that I wanted to lay out. And so like here on the left side, I've got like some really kind of rudimentary sketches, and a lot of my thinking is still going in the head, even though I'm trying to like put it on paper. And so like, I'm sorry for the chicken scratch, it's like pretty hard to read, but like you can see here was like where I kind of initially started. And then I start to refine my vision here. So like what I was originally thinking is maybe, you know, starting out with just a couple of the common genuses, and like depending on how much time we have together on screen, I'll be able to get through like a couple of them, but you know, maybe we'll just start with the 5 just to get started.
And is that like the start screen is like right over here? Is that, or is it kind of up there? That's where you kind of refined it.
Right. So this is like the janky initial version, and here's where I started to like sharpen it up a little.
Yeah, you're like, I gotta show this on Adobe Live. I better clean this up.
I was like, please just don't look at this section. So here's, you know, I'll just share a little bit of my thinking, which is like, I'm thinking maybe we'll start on a Discover page where like, you know, it kind of shows you the different genuses. So like, you know, you have aloes, you have like agaves, you have echeverias, and you have like sedums and haworthias, and like think about this as just like big buckets of like so many other smaller varieties of succulents. And so here you can see I was like thinking about an original like originally thinking about like a nav bar, but I was like, I don't have enough content for that, and like I'm not trying to make this like super complex app. I just want people to like start build out their mental model of it. So from there it's like, okay, you dive into one bucket, and so here's a view that I'm calling the GDP, the genus details page.
GDP, not the gross domestic product.
No.
Genus details page. I like it.
So I'll talk through a little bit of it. So it's like, you know, imagine we're here and like we're in one specific genus, and it might be just like aeoniums. It'll have like some hero image of it, some like general description of it here, and then kind of like a list view of like all the different varieties of different genuses. So like you can kind of go through them, and you know, this is not by no means going to be a comprehensive list, but it's kind of just intended to like get your feet wet. And so like what happens when you click on any one of these, it goes to a separate section, which I'm calling the STP, the succulent detail page.
Okay, there we go. Succulent detail page.
Right. So you may be in like a specific like aeonium, like a kiwi aeonium, for example, and it'll be like all about the description for the kiwi aeonium, a little bit about its rarity, you know, watering needs, kind of light needs, because like that's kind of the biggest question for me, and it's kind of like pretty relevant when it comes to designing any product, is like, what needs does your product fulfill? And part of it is like, yes, it's about discovery, but it's also about like, okay, I have this succulent, what do I do with it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like, can I keep this thing alive?
Right.
Where do I put it?
Right.
How much do I water it?
Exactly. So you can kind of see like as I started doing more and more thinking, I kind of like started refining the vision a little bit more. So this is kind of like typically how I like to go in my process, which is like doing a lot of the heavy lifting and the hard work up front, so that you don't have to think too much about the logic and kind of the different flows as you're actually producing the design. So here I've got like a much more refined version of what I'm imagining my Discover page to look like. So, you know, some kind of glamour shot of a succulent here. some kind of pagination indicator, a CTA for being able to like jump into that genus, and then kind of more high fidelity stuff. Oh, Haworthia mirror ball. I should show you guys this. This is like a super rare, super dope Haworthia. I just finally got one.
What is it called again?
It's called the Haworthia mirror ball.
Haworthia mirror ball.
Oh, you guys got to see
and
this.
And it's a succulent.
So I think it's.
What is it?
So it's a Haworthia. I don't know its origins. I think it might even be from Japan. But like, imagine a succulent where its leaves look like little tiny water balloons. Hold on. Do you guys want to jump to?
Yeah, you're just gonna Google it?
Yeah, should I?
Just Google it. Like, are people like interested? Like, I know nothing about plants really or succulents, so I'm looking forward to. Oh yeah.
Oh my God! Look at this.
Some of those.
Look at how dope that looks. So this is a mirror ball. Oh, look at that! And so I actually have one of these now, and they look like they're like just filled with water, but they're actually kind of hardy.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, and that's like the definition of a succulent is they do say that it's like normally really like it's more like thick on the outside, if you will, and retain water in arid climates. So I don't know where everybody's from. I don't know if you have succulents where you're from, Tom or Eileen or David. Let us know. Let us know where you're from, and if you have these sort of like plants in your area or succulents, would be good to know. So Arthur knows about it. He could never look after his succulents. Sorry, man.
Sorry, Arthur.
So this is good. Tampa, of course, there's, I don't know, like it's not arid there. That's the thing.
So interesting thing is depending on the part of world that you live in, like there is a thing where it's called like, I forget the term. I think it's something like hardiness zone. So you know how like there's different climates. Different succulents thrive better in different climates.
Yeah, so that's kind of, I was kind of curious about that. So they don't have small ones in Canada. It's too cold, which is interesting. So I think it'd be even more exotic to have a succulent in Canada, for instance.
Totally.
You know. Oh, you do customer service for a flower show? David Hardy's. We got a resource.
Yeah.
David, you're going to be our resource for the flower shop. Since you work at a flower shop, we're gonna come at you. It's gonna be test time for you. You'd help us.
That's what I'm talking about.
Colby, they have a lot in Florida, so
Perfect.
that's cool. Oh, good. And just wondering where everybody else is from. I want to see if there's anyone from Europe, even parts of Asia, clear as far away as the Philippines, maybe. Trying to see how far east, how late people are up, because for us it's like 9:12 a.m. Pacific here in beautiful San Francisco.
Lovely.
We're just gorgeous out there today, just sunny, beautiful. As you can see through these lovely bay view windows, it's just work with me here.
It's lovely here.
Yeah, it's
you
lovely.
Guys are missing
It's
out.
Totally not overcast and foggy. Carl the Fog is in full effect.
That's right.
Czech Republic, Africa. There, that's cool. So this is really fun. Thank you so much for showing some of these, because I think we're going to learn a lot.
Sure.
And there will be lots of plant puns, probably.
Oh my God, please.
Oh, yeah, please in a good way? Yeah?
Please.
Because some people can't stand puns, and I freaking love them.
Right.
I'm like all 100% dad jokes.
All right, hit me with it.
Yeah, I don't have them yet.
Okay.
Wait, give me time. All right, 6 p.m. in Serbia. Good to know. All right, St. Thomas. Very cool. U.S. Virgin Islands. All right, Howard. What's up, Howard? Howard's here for the puns. So we're doing plant puns today, in case you didn't know. Focusing on succulents.
Yeah, building apps that don't suck.
Ooh, good one. We're getting a lot of that one. S-U-C-C. All right, cool. Palermo, living in Berlin. Cool. Zimbabwe's in the house. Cool, Alistair. Good to have everyone here. And really, is this your process? I saw that question earlier, like in terms of like prototyping and working out your ideas, you'll kind of start on paper first?
Absolutely. So it's really important to I know that for a lot of designers, especially for me when I was a younger designer, you get kind of this anxiety like, oh, I need to produce something, I need to make something, I need to show and validate like how good of a designer I am. But actually spending that initial time up front where you're spending that 1 hour to 2 hours thinking through all the different screens and all the different interactions, for what, and like thinking through all the logic is really what's going to pay off for you later, because really what you're doing is building yourself a map so that you can follow it, and like the actual pushing of the pixels of the production design, don't get me wrong, is very important, and obviously you still need to create something, but like not having the map is the same as trying to drive somewhere without knowing where you're going.
Yeah. No, that is good, and I think it's easy to like just jump into an app on your desktop and start, because I think it's kind of like easy to design and you know, start making right away when you really you haven't put enough thought into things just yet.
Totally.
So like spend that time. And by the way, on that note, I really like your laptops. Aside from the Gundam sticker, but you are not equal to your user.
I know.
Which is a cool sticker and just like something cool to think about, right?
That's right. Got to represent my squad over at the Nielsen Norman group. That's a sticker from them.
Oh, okay. Very cool. But it's so good, you know? And again, you can draw it up and be like, you know, might not make sense to somebody else.
It's so accurate though, right? Because like sometimes I've come across this, especially in my career, like it's so easy to fall in love with your own designs and so easy to be like, oh yeah, this totally makes sense to me. But you got to remember that we are too smart for our own products.
Well, speak for yourself. I don't know about me.
We just know too much, and so we have to keep in mind that we are designing something that's not actually for ourselves, and at the end of the day needs to serve someone else, and if it doesn't make sense to them, it's not achieving its purpose.
Yeah, no, that is good. And it's good to show it to even people around you and get other people's input, like, again, how do I pronounce your name? Your wife's?
Ekaterina.
Ekaterina, all right, Ekaterina, who's an amazing illustrator, so that's really cool. So is this you carrying around a sketchbook? And
oh my God, do you want to see it?
I do want to see it, totally.
Check it out.
Looks like 9:45 p.m. Sri Lanka is the place where it's the latest. Oh, here we go. So this is like literally in your back pocket.
It's in my back pocket, so check this out.
And it's,
so it's a field.
oh, your field notes.
Yeah.
Oh, look at you.
So
some field notes.
You guys probably already know Aaron Draplin.
Aaron Draplin, all beat up. They're kind of smelly. I'm just joking.
Please don't smell. Please don't smell the sketchbooks.
I'm not going to. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's gross. Anyways, I won't go through your personal stuff, but that's awesome. Like, you never know when ideas are going to strike, and we're just thankful to have everybody here. We still have the challenge, so you can kind of, if you have ideas in your sketchbook or whatever, as long as it's travel-related experience for a landing page. So now that we're here, we have some ideas for some succulents that we like. And yeah, what's the next step?
Exactly. So basically what I like to do is define all the different views that I need, and then actually go into the whatever app I'm going to be using to create it. So today we're going to be using XD. So there's a couple of logistical things you need to define up front. So like, you know, if you're designing a mobile website or a mobile app, you need to decide kind of like what the native viewport is. So fortunately, XD kind of like already pre-populates, like they tell you that 6, 7, and 8 are all the same viewport. So that's it's actually one of the most common ones. So like, you know, for my job at FabFitFun, this is like what we primarily see most traffic come in through at that 375 width viewport. So we're just going to go ahead and go with that because, you know, we've seen the data, or at least I've seen some data that there's a lot of people that have this phone size. So from there, what I like to start doing is just kind of creating a low fidelity mock-up of what I've already drawn up by hand. And so I'll just go ahead and start doing some of that. So there's a couple of things in here that you might want to be able to just like grab that, you know, are just going to be system status stuff. So in here, I've gone ahead and created a folder for us for our project. So the way I like to structure things is assets, designs, and exports. So assets is think of them like as puzzle pieces for anything that you're going to be using to put together to create a comp. And then design is like where we actually are going to start, you know, creating our design file. And exports is where we export anything.
Cool. Yeah, it's going to have your structure set up. And this goes into the design folder, right?
Exactly. So intuitive.
You're welcome. Oh, by the way, Taufik, you mentioned the July update. Yeah, definitely. You might need to restart your Creative Cloud desktop app, but there is a release that went live last night. Yeah. So super cool. We'll talk about all those. Somebody already mentioned it. Zeppelin available on. Zeppelin export available on Windows, ProtoPie.
Perfect.
And all those extensions that were on Mac are now available on Windows.
Perfect. So we've got our file set up, and so I guess I'm just going to go ahead and start building out the Discover page. I'm just kind of starting to get the elements. So the cool thing about why I set this whole document up is to make sure that we have all the content here, right? So I've already got it written out, and like this is something that you'll want to do either if it's your own personal passion project or if you're working on a team. You'll want to make sure that you get the content up front. And one of the things that I came across a lot when I was a young designer was trying to design something with placeholder content. And I've come to realize that that is not the right way to do things, because the content is actually what's going to define your design. So, for example, if I only have enough content for a wedding invitation, that's not going to dictate something that's going to be like a novel, for example. I wouldn't use the same design solution for that.
Yeah, so you need, so what do you do for placeholder content, like in this case? I mean...
So in this case, well, if you don't have it up front, you want to make sure that you have a good understanding of how much content you're working with. So one paragraph versus 5 paragraphs is going to be very different.
Gotcha.
So whatever you can do to like kind of de-risk that stuff. So fortunately, because this is one of my passion projects, I've just gone ahead and written the content, so it's all available for us. So we're just going to go ahead and continue working and building this out.
Yeah, growing up, whenever we had like a stomach ache as kids, my mom always had us drink aloe vera juice, which is a supplement. Supplement? What? Oh, that's a good supplement. I just made up a new term. It's like a supplement, succulent. So, anyways,
so proud of you.
The healing power of aloe. That's what we're talking about on Adobe Live today.
Perfect.
And XD, the latest update. As you start knocking out this content.
So the really cool thing. So right now I'm not really worrying too much about any of the design, and I'm really just focused about getting the content on the page. And so like this could be the same as like considering what you would consider like the wireframing process, where you just focus a little bit on layout, but not really just on visual design.
Yeah. And again, I think it's like the visual design is it's kind of like, honestly, like at least for me, the easy part. I could make things look pretty, but I'm like, oh, I gotta put like thought behind what I'm making look pretty, you know?
Totally.
So yeah. Thank you. Ekaterina's on it. She is your social media like promoter. She's like throwing out your Instagram, which happens to also be your Twitter handle as well.
That's right.
Jamesy.
That's right.
Awesome. 1222 in Canada. I think Sri Lanka's the person that's up the latest. Just want to say we appreciate you staying up so late. So yeah, the audio is probably fluctuating a little bit because I talk louder than you.
Oh, sorry. I just have a very delicate voice, you know.
He does. It's soothing. I just want to like put my head right here.
Which is very therapeutic. So it's good. I'll go ahead and make the screen larger. Probably make it easier for our viewers. So I've got the general basis of it kind of laid out here. Let me go ahead and like add a button.
This is real data though so far. The Aeonium.
Yeah, this is a real genius.
Known as the tree house leek.
So that is a real fact.
Ooh. What?
And then here's a little bit of flavor for me. Think of them as the tiny trees of the succulent world.
Okay.
So Aeoniums are so dope because like they really are the little trees. So from one giant stalk, you can get a bunch of like little tiny branches that come off of them. And so there's a really cool technique. It's called propagation, where you can like actually cut a branch off and like let it callus over and replant it. It will turn into a new succulent.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Wow. Aeonium. Aeonium.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna pull up some just to give you an idea.
Oh my god, that one is so dope.
If you could just switch to my screen. So here you go. So here's the Aeonium, just so, and it's like now that, oh yeah, I've seen these around. That's like a top view.
So check this out. This pink one right here, that's called the Q Aeonium. And when it gets a lot of sun, it's super healthy. It gets these like pink tips. It looks super tropical.
Yeah. I mean, look at these. They look like kind of like palm
little trees.
Yeah.
And check out this black one. It's all murdered out. So this one is.
It's murdered out.
It totally is. It's like a Halloween succulent.
It's totally murdered out.
So this one
is totally murdered out that plant there. It's totally.
Well, this one is like genetically modified. So that's called a Zwartkop.
This one?
Yeah.
Dude, you blow my mind right now.
It's straight up a designer succulent.
I'm supposed to be learning UX stuff, and I'm learning about plants. Well, and I don't know what to do. It's too much information. It's very good. Look at this. This is also the pink.
Yeah, that's the kiwi.
Oh, look at this. So that one's murdered out.
Yep.
So, We need to use that term more for things that are dark. I'm gonna say they're murdered out.
So check this out from this.
Are we gonna murder out the interface
a little bit
later?
A little bit if we want to. Depends how much time we have.
I love it.
So I'm just like kind of getting all the elements on the page, and if I were just to, so here's a little hack that I learned. So there's no mirroring feature yet, but like if you just rotate things 180 from here, you'll be able to mirror it like super easy. So quick little workaround. So this is pretty much all of the content on the page, right?
Yeah, and this is just a way to kind of like, you again, like you said, nothing about succulents.
Right.
Rather than having you pick a category, it's like, hey, just discover these beautiful images of aeoniums or something else.
Totally. So the last thing that we're missing is a little pagination indicator. And that's one of the things in UX that is really important. It's the first heuristic of Jacob Nielsen's list of usability heuristics, is visibility of system status. So without this little pagination indicator, people would not be able to see how many other pages there are. And so from this point, this is basically good enough for a wireframe. And if somebody wanted to just be like, all right, this is just an alignment tool, we want to just have a conversation around this, this is good to go. But we're much past that. We know the vision that we want. So so let's just go ahead and move on to visual design because we know what we're doing.
There's Jacob Nielsen, Carolyn. That was the usability heuristics that you mentioned, right?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. So he's all about web usability, JAKOB.
No, that's right. So. He's a UX pioneer. So we've got everything laid out. So typically in my process, like what I like to do is go ahead and build out all of the screens in kind of like a wireframe format, and I'll go ahead and do that. But like what we can do, because we're just going to be focusing on the Discover today, we'll just work on polishing the fidelity of this one.
I got to meet, so there's Jacob Nielsen and then there's Don Norman, who did Design of Everyday Things. I got to meet him like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, he's super cool. He's an interesting guy.
Yeah. Oh, he's a totally interesting guy. But just the nicest guy ever. So
don't forget about Bruce Tognazzini. So there's three partners.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he calls himself the G of NNG.
Oh, got it. Okay. The G of the Nielsen Norman group.
That's right. So when I'm moving from the wireframing stage, into the visual design stage, there's a couple things I actually need to make a decision on. So first and foremost, anyone that is a professional design practitioner or aspiring design practitioner, you guys already know, we got to set up the grid, right? So in ours, we got a 375 width viewport. So I like to approach my grids from two perspectives, both the X and the Y. And when I was a really young designer, I was just doing it from the Y, which we're doing right here. So we're just going to use the grid layout tool right here, which we can define like the number of columns. So because we're working with the super small viewport, we don't need a large number of columns, and we're mostly going to be using like single column layouts, but the 2 column is going to be conducive of that. And so we're going to set up the width real quick. I like to use 15 looks okay, but right now we're just going to kind of eyeball it. So one of the rules of thumb that I really like to practice is setting up a baseline grid that is conducive with the relationship of ratios. So when I set my baseline grid, the way that I was taught was through print design. And when you set a baseline grid up in print design, you're thinking about type in points and kind of like what point sizes to set things at. So I was taught using a 12-point baseline grid, but I've since graduated to using a 6-point grid. Baseline grid, which if you translate it over to digital is 6 pixels.
Does it kind of depend on depending on the width and height, you want something divisible by that width and height too?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, 375 is kind of like it's a weird number, so we're not going to get like a great. It's not an even number.
Yeah.
So
exactly. That makes it a little tricky.
Yeah, but I mean it's a good place to start. the main thing that you're trying to focus on is making sure that you have some sort of underlying skeleton for your typography to adhere to. So you can already kind of see like where I'm going with this is like, you know, similarly to how you play music to tempo and like, you know, when, you know, to some percussion, you want to make sure that your typography has some kind of tempo to adhere to as well. Same for your
I like it. Typography having some tempo.
Exactly.
And speaking of tempo, we're gonna shift tempo and dive into Chat and Win. Chat and Win, you can see the fireworks. Yes, Chat and Win, all you have to do is chat. So hop in chat, hopefully you're all logged in and be like, hey, what's up? What's up, James? You got some sick style there. Yes, he is wearing white pants as well.
Oh.
This guy's like, I can't eat spaghetti today, or I don't know what you say to yourself.
That's right.
Like, I'm gonna be careful with all liquids.
Yeah, can't mess around with any sauces today.
Yeah, no sauces, no red sauces today, but just say, hey, welcome, what's up? Good to see you, James, Paul. We are doing this giveaway for the Chat and Win. We got this fancy, you could see it right here, and this one seems to be empty. It wasn't a second ago. It actually had a little something in it. Oh, add more prizes in it. Okay, so you need a bag for all the prizes you're gonna win, but right now, this is a very custom Adobe XD art bag, art tote, if you will. So if you are carrying around field notes, see how they handily go in. Look at how that works.
Another one.
Keeps everything. What do you want? It's all ready to go. So we're gonna pull a name at random. Adobe Live is gonna do that. And all you have to do is say something in chat like you're doing. And then you'll win this. This is brand new. This is like a new item, and we're gonna have giveaways every hour. And our winner is Karen LePage. Congratulations, Karen LePage. Yes, you are the proud owner of this fancy art tote, is what I decided to call it.
Nice.
It's to keep all your other prizes in that you're gonna win. So congratulations, Karen. We'll do giveaways for each segment, and if you don't want to leave everything up to chance, you can actually enter in the challenge. So check out that challenge tab. And in about an hour, that's when we'll review all those challenges. I will say though, by the way, it's like your best odds of winning are during this first segment, because you gotta have the shortest amount of time to actually make something.
Right.
So we don't get a ton of entries. Your entries, could go a long way. So, yeah, I would like to be able to. Nuno, I agree. I would like to be able to flip images. Sure. You can definitely crop them though, just so you know. You could easily draw, like what you're gonna do even with this square, once you drop an image in, you can move that image inside of that mask, if you will,
right.
Pretty easily.
Exactly.
So, and that's actually kind of a new thing, and we're like constantly like adding new features that we'll talk about. But they come at you. Like, I hate saying, oh, we don't have something, because like the next month we end up having that thing. Not always, of course, but I'm just like, that wasn't there, now it's here.
Right.
It's magic. Oh, you are very welcome. She's gonna carry watercolors around in her art tote. Karen is. So this is like, are you toggling on and on? You actually, what is there? Probably is a shortcut for toggling it on and off. I do that all the time in Illustrator.
Oh, just like different elements?
Showing the layout grid or the square grid, you can toggle it using commands.
Yeah, so you actually have to have your artboard selected. And then that's when you'll get this grid functionality here. So you can either turn it on or off. I like to keep it on just to make sure that I'm keeping things aligned, but sometimes you do have to turn it off, so you can actually choose between layout and square. So layout will give you that kind of column view, and then square will give you the other baseline view.
Cool. And then, so the next question is, because you asked about this earlier, let's be honest. Sure. You're like, rulers?
Yeah.
Do you find that you still need rulers or want rulers in XD?
I think it depends, and I think it is one of those things that's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Kind of like a shotgun in a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd rather have it and not need it.
Yeah, I know. And it just like, you're just used to using rulers coming from any other design app.
Totally.
I'm amazed with just the smart guides. Like the ability to like move these things around and align them. Like, how have I been dealing without this for so many years?
Super helpful.
So
let me talk to you a little bit about the reason why I set up a baseline grid. So where I received my typography training is through a program called TypeEd, which is kind of like extracurricular type classes. What one of my mentors, Michael Stinson, has taught me is that the whole reason why you want to set this up is so you can have that rhythm that you can adhere to, right? So that actually applies to your typesetting as well. So check this out. So I'm looking for a lowest common denominator of how I can set all my typography. So here I'm setting, I've gone ahead and set the family up to Proxima Nova, one of my favorite typefaces. And I'm setting it up to both a font size of 24, but with also a lead size of 30. And so the rule of thumb here is that you want to have it at 120% of what your type size is. And so this is giving us a weird number, which is 28.8. So I just go ahead and round that. So I just set it 24 over 30, which is approximately 120%.
yeah. Do you know you could do actually math operations in any of those fields?
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, check that out.
Yeah, math operations. We just threw that in last month.
Nice.
And we're like, here, now it's there. So yeah, I do that a lot. If you're doing like a 3-column layout or something like that, you want something to be a third the width, just divide by 3, or
So,
you know, you get it.
Super helpful. So the same applies here for when you're setting your type. So here I've gone ahead and set my body up to 12 over 18. And here's one of the things I actually really love about this is you can actually, I just learned about this. So under styles right here, you can, and under your assets, I mean, you can actually start to define all of your different styles. So this is really relevant to like if you're designing a website and you have a bunch of like different styles for all your H tags, and if you have like a bunch of P tag classes, you can say like, you know, here's what, you know, P tags look like, or here's what P tags look like in large versus extra large. So you can kind of just go ahead and I'll go ahead and click one right now. So here I've got it set up to Proxima Nova 12, and it's recognizing it's 12 over 18. So whenever I have more additional stuff, I can just go ahead and click those, and they'll go ahead and apply.
Nice, yeah. I think just having, you know, using that assets panel is like huge.
Oh.
One of the new things, and this is just again another new feature I'll throw out. You should be able to name that as your like title font or H1 or whatever. You should be able to double click and just you should be able to name it. Here, let me.
Should I just edit it? Oh,
no, it wouldn't. You could edit it, sure. But let me go. You should just be able to double click on the Proxima Nova, like, or maybe below it. All right, so we'll work on that. We'll make sure yours is like updated, but
sure.
Yeah, you could do that with colors, you could do that with character styles, you could do it with symbols.
Perfect.
So basically we can name all of our assets, which is great for like searching, and as your project gets more complex, you can search on those names.
Totally.
So Ekaterina, this lady named Ekaterina is asking, having the styles and whatnot is helpful once you, is that helpful once these go to your creative team and then to developers after?
Oh, 100%. Because when you're thinking, like very similarly to like how a lot of UX practitioners think, like you want to imagine things through the perspective of other people. And so your developer is not thinking about like, you know, how close is the padding? Like, I mean, yes, they are, but they're really thinking about like, okay, what are the styles that I need to hit, and what is the way that I'm thinking about these styles? So if, you know, it's for web, for example, they're thinking about H tags, H1 through 6, and, you know, they're thinking about P tags and whether or not they have to define classes for that. So like once you can define all this stuff up front, it's like, it's very similar to how we use this assets panel. Is you're just creating these reusable components so that they no longer have to like ad hoc type in that style. Are just like, oh, I referenced this style guide, there it is.
Yeah, no, that is good. Like, make it as easy on them as possible. There are so many things I need to talk about. By the way, like publishing design specs, which is awesome. So we can get the exact positioning of things, all those little details. So you don't even have to make a note. You can like send them the design specs. And now we have commenting in design specs.
Oh, perfect.
So you can put a marker saying, hey, for this title, note that it's whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Right. That's
Anyways,
perfect.
I like it.
So I'm just
Chris Cannon as well. So this is, I'm glad this kind of came up, because I don't know if you have XD updated or not, which is totally fine, because sometimes you might have to actually restart. It might take a second, or restart your computer or even your desktop app, but it will be there just as an FYI. All good. We don't need it right now. We're not really getting a lot into, you know, some of those things.
Not yet.
Because you are pointing out the border options. Chris Cannon says that there's...
That's right, I don't have it yet.
There's all this fun stuff. Can I show you? Do you want me to show you?
Go ahead.
Let me show you. So here is, in fact, let's make this a little larger. And let's just take this line right here, making it extra large. And it's these additional options right off to the side.
Lovely.
So now we can round the end. We'll see that round it. Boop. Thank you very much. If there were any other curves on it, we can curve it out like that. Guess what? We want to dash it. Yeah, let's dash it out. There we go. Now we have that nice dashed line. Dashed lines, rounded corners, rounded end caps are some fun features that you now know about. So.
So I'm just kind of playing with different colors.
Can I just have you read that comment? Because I don't out loud, but like Katrina urged to. So does she just mean like tweak it to death?
Yeah, totally. It's really hard not to, but like because we're in that process of we are refining, it's hard not to like, you know, go crazy with the pixel tweaking. But because we are in that stage of like making sure that we are tightening up this design, because ultimately what we're going to do, the idea is that we're going to create like a good version of this Discover view so that we can duplicate it for all the different geniuses that we want to showcase. So we've got aeoniums here. Let's just jump back to our quick document, which is we've got agaves, we've got aloes, echeverias, and haworthias if we have time for them. And we're just going to, you know, use this to create the rest of it. So in this stage, we do want to like be a little bit mindful of that. But yeah, I mean, we don't want to spend forever on it either.
Carolyn asks if your developers, can your developers be faithful to your design once you hand them these files?
Yeah, so that is a good question, and it depends on your relationship with your developer team and how much that's a priority. So when it comes to like visual fidelity, what I like to implement is you know how we have like a traditionally in product development, there's a stage for quality assurance where you're making sure that there's no bugs and all the functionality works correctly. I also like to implement a phase I like to call design QA, which is like ensuring that, you know, what's been developed matches what's been designed. And oh, hi Heva. Yeah, that's really good to see her. So making sure that what's been designed is matches what's being developed, and like having that kind of open dialogue for being able to go back and forth about like, okay, let's like adjust the padding here, or let's adjust the typography, it doesn't quite match, or, you know, getting those little details right, because that really kind of is what gets the high fidelity of a product looking right. And at the end of the day, it is about like selling a product and making sure that something looks good in order to like be perceived as high quality.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up like those soft skills, like just like having a relationship with your developers and just like getting along with people, you know, like those soft skills, like, you know, hugely important, just to be able to work with your coworkers, kind of is what it comes down to.
100%.
Don't be a jerk, that's what we're trying to say.
Please.
Oh, you've always worked hard. Katrina says you've always worked hard to get to know your developers. And that's big, because again, different mindset. Think about how many things you can learn, you know, like from a developer. Like, have you really spent time to kind of dive into their pain points? You know, and like once you understand those, you're like, there's a lot of empathy for that. Like, hey.
Totally.
Yes.
And it's important to keep that in mind, like especially when you find that you are having a lot of resistance, like ask yourself, what is the reason why? Is it because like, you know, you're prescribing design, like, and you know, how can you address that and maybe make sure that like everyone's concerns are being addressed? And it's basically just about getting everyone on the same team, and moving towards the same goal, so we can basically drive the car the same direction.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. You can't be fighting in the back seat when you're trying to like make it somewhere. Nobody likes that.
Please. Yeah.
Parents like, keep it down back there, just get it done. right? It's like the bosses.
Exactly.
Stop fighting. Do you know how to, do you code at all, or?
Yeah, I'm actually really familiar with front-end web development, so I know my HTML, CSS, I know a little bit of JavaScript, but I would not hire myself as a developer. I would not.
There's so much to be said for just like knowing your strengths and weaknesses.
Oh, totally.
Just know your place. Hey,
totally.
you know.
And that was one of the things that I came across a lot when I was a really young designer. Is I worried about having to know it all. And the truth of the matter is, you don't have to know it all. You just have to be good at the thing that you are good at. And in this case, it's UI and UX design.
Yeah. And you just gotta love it. I mean, you just gotta like love what you do, because I think it'll kind of come through. It's like you put thought into something, and it's something that you truly. Hey, how did you flip that really fast, by the way?
Oh yeah, check this out. So I'll do it again. So I've gone ahead and created this shape here, which I created just by like using the pen tool and creating a vector, and then creating a stroke on it, right? So that's an ugly one, but you know, we won't use that one. We'll use the good one.
We'll forgive you.
We'll use the good one. That was the practice one. So I'm just holding Option and dragging, and what that'll do is clone it. And then in here, under the rotate field, you can actually just type in 180, and it'll flip it the other way.
Got it. Done.
And then
done.
Check it out. There it is. Use that smart margin to tell me exactly, make that equidistant. So here's a part that's actually going to take a little bit of effort. So, and the reason why is because I like to get crazy about this, like with the baseline grid. So let's like tighten a couple things up here.
Tighten it up. Tighten it up.
So I really like to have these all match up. So, you know, for wireframing purposes, this is good enough. But like, you know, if we're actually going to get into high fidelity, let's actually create a good looking pagination. So here's where that square baseline grid comes into play. So we've got this set to 18 and 18. And we actually might want to do something to like 24 and 24. And the reason why is that is gonna be our selected indicator for what we want it to look like when it's selected. So I'm going to do a couple style things to it just to make it look higher fidelity. I'm going to take the border off.
Hopefully that's coming through. It's pretty subtle but very nice, right? I think being a designer is like often about just some subtlety, especially when you're adding a drop shadow.
Oh, totally.
Like I will judge you as a designer by how you use a drop shadow. I'm sorry, I shouldn't. You know what I'm saying?
So
like I hardly even want it to be noticeable and hardly be offset. And that's exactly what you're doing. Look at that, just so subtle. Like nobody's gonna catch it, but like maybe other designers.
Oh yeah, definitely. Other designers, the only people who care about this.
Yeah, right? I care.
All right, so how many changes do we say we're
Drop shadow shaming. That's right. Drop shadow shaming. Seriously, like you know, when like especially if it's ever a default. Like I don't know, I just don't trust some defaults.
Right.
And okay, Big Yawn mentions using repeat grid. We can talk about repeat grid. We can talk about like, you know, creating a symbol out of this too.
Totally.
You know, it's a couple different ways, but
totally. So, really good suggestion. In this case, I'm not going to use a repeat grid, and the reason why I'll show you in a moment is because I actually want each one of these to be able to adjust themselves when I change. So when I go from screen A to screen B, I want the opacity of this one to be different than the opacity of that one. So, so check this out. This is actually what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to go here. I'm going to turn the opacity to 0 for all of these, and I'm going to, take off the drop shadow, and I'm actually going to change the. I'm going to change. So we're just going to use a value of gray, and we're going to save it to our palette as well, so we can just reuse that later. Make sure we're using the same one. And so check this out. This will be the really cool part. So we'll just keep that there. We grouped it up. And so basically we have the gist of what we want to build.
This is, man, freaking good. I like it. I like how clean it is. And it's good. Again, Heba and Howard and, of course, your wife. It's always Chris Cannon. Good to see such familiar faces in chat. So I just feel like just hanging out with friends, learning about succulents.
Exactly.
Just Lay it on us.
So I've gone ahead and saved out a bunch of photos already from Adobe Stock. Shout out to the Adobe Stock team.
Oh yeah.
For photos that I want to use here. And so I've gone ahead and like kind of curated, and I know about these specific succulents. So we're just going to go ahead and start with an aeonium. So this one I believe is like a aeonium arboretum, if I'm remembering correctly. See, I'm really getting
what?
An aeonium arboretum.
An aeonium arboretum.
So I'm getting put on the spot here now.
You could pretty much like make up anything, we'll believe you. Yeah, that's probably what it is, sure. But I love it. This aeonium.
So we're gonna just
It's like a plant flower.
So the really cool thing is we are just gonna bring it in, and so we actually don't need to mask because we're just doing white on white.
Okay.
And we could if we wanted to, but then we'd have
to. You could drag it in. I think you can do a copy and paste now from, like, say,
I think you can.
Photoshop or some other asset, and if you have that shape selected and do a paste, it should paste it in there.
Let's do it.
See if it's. Oh, you're not updated though. That's right. Never mind. I'm so sorry.
Oops.
But that does work. But right now you don't even need to put it in anything, like you said. Like, this is like super clean, and hopefully everybody likes it and knows that it doesn't suck. S-U-C-C. That's right.
You just had to do it.
Yeah, that came from Katrina actually. So what is your grid, by the way? What did you? Was it 6x6?
It's 6x6.
6x6.
Yeah, it's just a 6-pixel.
Boom!
grid.
Kyle's on it, man. If there was a test, Kyle would be getting 100%. So you are awesome.
So I'm gonna do something that I like for stylistic purposes. So I've gone ahead and duplicated my rectangle here. So I've got 2 and 3, and so from here you can actually adjust your hexadecimal value to hue, saturation, and brightness. And you got, you know, your form field here for hue. Here's your saturation. Here's your brightness. And so I'm actually just going to tweak these a little bit. Oh, I should probably put this one on the side so you can see it. So I actually want to make it a little bit brighter, and you'll see the reason why. So I'm actually just going to put it underneath and create this like faux drop shadow.
Okay. I approve.
Thank you.
I'm nobody.
So from there, we're just going to create that blue.
Katrina's just talking about how you two will go to the mall and you'll wander off to a planter and be like, just amazed by, look at this Haworthia. Check out this Haworthia. Look at this murdered out aeonium.
Oh, it's so dope. Look at this. Okay, hold on. Let's just check it out.
It is very beautiful.
Look at how dope that looks.
It is very dope.
Oh. It already looks like...
So, okay, cool.
So we're going to do one more thing, which is... So I've gone ahead and download...
Leon, good question. I'll ask that in a sec.
I've gone ahead and downloaded one of these iOS libraries. So we're going to take a couple of elements out of here. So we're just going to grab the... hopefully this is the right viewport size. Yep. So we're just going to grab the Great Simple Chrome here. Oh, we need the dark one. There it is. And we're just going to paste that on there. And then check it out. Oh my god, look, it looks legit.
Okay.
Look at that. I want to learn about aeoniums right now.
Very cool. Hello, Jessica. Jessica Moon's in chat. She's our host.
Hi, Jess.
Segment later today. What if there's no drop shadow? What do you judge then? Oh, that's funny. She's kind of an aside. We got to judge something. We got to be like, hey, I have an opinion about this stuff. And I think this looks really good because it's all about like less is more.
Totally.
And just to recap, you used a UI kit. Can you just at least show under the file menu just so people know?
Yeah, sure.
If you go to File and then Get UI Kits, and then there is iOS.
Oh, this is so cool.
Google Material, like Microsoft Windows. There's like a couple other like really good ones in there.
Here it is. You just go and grab it.
Yeah, so that's like, and again, this could be like an older one, just kind of depending on which one you want. Look at this.
There it is.
Look at that file size is like
Boom.
12 megs.
Nice.
The smallest out of all of them, but that has so many things in it. And when you go to check out other wireframes, that's where we keep loading that more UI kits. That's where we keep adding more UI kits. So that's
perfect.
kind of the deal. And wireframes is really cool too.
Oh.
Wireframes is just these basic like wireframes. If you want to do login screens, like that's a lot of work.
Right.
Just pull them from there. You need a generic like map.
Right.
Just pull it in. Super easy.
Oh.
And you can take all the credit for it as if you did it or something. I don't know.
Perfect. All right, so everything's looking tight. This comp is looking good. So I might want to just space it out a little bit. And I might even want to just tweak
Type
this.
pairing shame. You judge them on their type pairing. If you can't judge them on their drop shadow, you judge them on their type.
We're only using one family here.
I know, it's
Who's
perfect.
shaming
It's
me?
No, nobody is. But we're just saying, like, how do you judge if you're not using a drop shadow? How can I? No.
True.
That's bad.
Just go ahead and judge me.
Oh, Anil, I didn't know you were with us. Nice for you to say hello. You got to go to work now? I got to pay the bills somehow, I assume. And for those of you who have the time, I want to remind you of the challenge. So go to the challenge tab. You can see it's all about creating a travel blog web experience. And it's just one screen, okay? You have about 30 minutes, and that's all you need to do. Yeah. So make that one screen experience for a travel blog, sort of a website, if you will. And we'll review those in 30 minutes. But yes, we will be judging all of them on the drop shadows and the fonts and all the things that we're just gonna be
laying on the judgment.
We're gonna be ruthless. No, we're not gonna be ruthless.
Just laying on the judgment.
Munir, good to have you here, my friends. Cheers.
All right, so this is looking pretty good. One other thing that we didn't talk about is I'm just gonna go ahead and do one. So I want in my comp, hold on, hard for me to like think and talk at the same time.
Hello, Walt West. Notice how I said aloe? Hello. Hello, Walt West. Welcome.
So proud of you.
Yeah.
So we're just grabbing this from the UI kit, just like for placement purposes. And what we're gonna do, so we're not gonna use any of this stuff because it's not really relevant, but we are gonna use it for placement. And so, just to get a feel for where the iOS GUI likes to put those elements, because we don't want to really deviate from those.
Yeah, kind of going with the standards that are out there. That's good.
Exactly. So I've gone ahead and downloaded a couple icons.
Where did you get these icons? I was curious.
Yeah, these ones are from Ion Icons, which is an open source library.
Ion Icons.
Yeah, so you can see it right there.
I don't know Ion Icons, but I do now. Is that right?
That might be it. Yep, that's it.
Cool. Open source icons, ionicons.com.
So
Cool.
they're super cool. They have both iOS and material design icon libraries that you can use. Totally open source. So we are in good shape.
Yeah, shout out to them. I mean, just being open source and having some great icons in here, so that's good.
Seriously.
All the fundamentals.
So we're doing a couple things, which is just making sure that we have the right color in place. And I've gone ahead and adjusted the green because I think that green looks better, and I dropped it from the Aeonium right here. So that's way too large. But what we want to do is kind of create ourselves a little target that people are going to be able to click. So let's put that behind.
Okay, so Big Jan mentions having a sticky note kind of thing inside of XD so that you don't have to switch to like a description. I think you're talking about like, I don't know, what would be in those sticky notes? I'd be curious about knowing that. Because basically once you share this design, you can add comments on specific parts. So that's where I do the sticky notes. If you need them just for you within XD, that's kind of like a different scenario. But good calls. Valter, good. Thank you for joining us. Welcome. Welcome to the party. It's party time.
That's right.
THYME.
So we're just tweaking. So I've got this invisible hitbox right here, and we're gonna hide it. But the idea is that you want to have both. so that you don't just have a floating icon that's super small tap target. So group that.
You're doing some magic.
Just a little bit. And then we'll also create one while we're at it for the back button for the detail pages. And we won't need it right this second, but we'll keep it on our artboard. So super cool feature, you can just like drag this straight on. Super helpful. Oh, that looks pretty cool actually. Maybe we should use these for our carousel as well. We'll keep it.
Ray Azer, looks like you're running into some issues with going full screen option. I might actually just do I might publish this prototype right now. What I like about this is, like, even though it says like publish prototype, it could just be the design. It doesn't have to be a prototype, because maybe even after doing one screen, you want to get somebody else's opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Jessica Moon's here. Jessica, I'm so happy you're here. This is great. Super fun. Squares, actually somebody asked why you were using 6x6. I know you kind of explained it. Can you just kind of recap, like, briefly?
Yeah, so
like 8x8 or?
Yeah, sure. So it all depends on the lowest common denominator that you want to use. So for me, I like to focus on the number 3, and the reason why is because you can scale that up. So if I needed, for example, to design a 12-column grid on this mobile viewport, I would be able to just do that easily. 12 is divisible, so you can like go 8, you can go 6, you can go 9, you can just go, you know, it's super versatile, lowest common denominator. Mm-hmm. And so from there, you want to have these relationships between both your typography as well as your grid. So everything from your columns to your baseline grid. So I was trained over at TypeEd by using a 12-point grid, but I've, you know, kind of gone crazy now where I like to get this granular level where I go 6. And if you want to get even crazier, check this out. You could go 3. And check this out. Let me zoom in.
Oh man.
Hold on. Is it going to show it? Oh, it totally does. Look at that. Perfect alignment on the baseline. No accident. Hold on.
Nailed it.
Let me
every time.
Let me just tweak this so you guys can see that. Do you see that?
Nailed it. That's like it. That's getting like really particular.
I know.
But I'm into it.
Yeah, if you want to do that kind of stuff, I think it makes a difference.
All right, so
we are in good shape now.
Yeah, so Calvin, there's a way to share a link of your UI to the developers. Oh yeah, definitely. Just go to, there's a couple different ways. So that's the whole idea. It's like design, prototype, and share. And when you go to share, if we just kind of switch to my screen real fast, right up here in the upper, you can see right up here, upper right, publish prototype, publish design specs. So that's potentially what you could send to your developers, which there's commenting allowed in design specs now. And I just published out a prototype, by the way. We can actually manage those published links, but let's jump over there. This is actually just the prototype. This is opening up in full screen mode, so I had to make sure that was working since somebody was asking. I can hit escape and write in here, you know, what do you think, or whatever. I don't know, what do you think of this design? Anyways, you get the idea. I just like the idea of even just, you know, you could take it, like, even if you're like working in Photoshop, mm-hmm. you could, if you have an interface or something created in Photoshop, it could be something UX UI, like unrelated, but you can open up that PSD in XD and just use the publish prototype feature. And that's a great way to share PSD design with others, because you can have that commenting on different spots and all that stuff. Because that's all this is. This isn't even hooked up to anything. Oh yeah, let's get you. Is this plugged in? I don't think we're getting any power here.
All right, so I'm just, now that this screen is looking pretty good.
Oh shoot, it's.
Try different chargers.
Let's go right here. There we go.
Lovely.
Bing. That's a good sound. I like hearing that. I'm like, okay. We're good.
It's a little Pavlovian. All right, so we've got the screen looking pretty good. I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate the artboards by using Command D, and we can make that pretty simple.
I like it. Dun-dun-dun.
So check it out. We've got all 4 set up here, and Actually, if we wanted to, we can just like already start prototyping and seeing what we want to, how we want this to like live.
It's gonna come to life. So yes, Karen, we did do a random giveaway about 30 minutes ago for Karen. Yeah, Karen, we know where you live. We know you actually. We think you look good in blue today. I think your hair is looking really good. We're totally monitoring you and everybody else in chat. So yeah, we know where you live. But there's a giveaway in the next segment, and in 25 minutes we'll do the challenge giveaway. Wow, that got really small, and then it got really big. Okay, honestly, I swear to you, my favorite feature in XD is Command 3.
Command 3, what does that do?
It will zoom whatever you have selected. It'll zoom it full screen.
Let me see this. Oh my God. Boom. Check that out.
So, and I'm like, I need this in everything now. I need repeat grid and everything, and just the ability to select something and zoom right into it.
It's so good.
So.
All right, so earlier we had a question about using a repeat grid for this pagination indicator, and here we'll get into the nitty-gritty of why I chose not to repeat grid for this, because it's not going to be the exact same element for every single thing. I mean, you could do it, but I just chose to do it this way because it was what I was familiar with.
Yeah, I've seen some people will like use a repeat grid initially and then ungroup it and then change it, because that might be a case where you do that, maybe not.
Totally.
So
here's why we kind of created each individual element separately, is we're gonna go ahead and tweak them now. This thing will cooperate. Oh, did I do this? Oh, there it is.
And this sometimes,
oh, right.
Like, yeah. I know you do that. Sometimes you have your layers panel open so you can kind of see how deep you are into things. Because as things get more complex, and even if you're using repeat grids, it's kind of hard to determine how deep you are, or whatever the case may be. So
sounds like a deep question.
Yeah, digging deep. We are digging deep.
That's right.
Because we're dealing with plants.
That's right.
Okay, get to the root of the problem.
Oh my God.
Help us all.
So let's just test this out real quick. Go back to prototype, and we will dissolve this back, and let's play it. All right, so we've got our ioniums. Check this out. Boom. So it's a little hard to tell the difference because nothing changes. We just keep that and that.
But you see that it does go into that second screen.
Oh, look how dope that looks. Boom. All right, so that's looking good. So let's just go ahead and keep progressing.
Keep progressing.
That's right.
Working through it. Probably like, are you going to start swapping out the content now a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit.
You know, this is what I love about this, is like the design is all about focusing on the content. Like super clean. It's amazing what great photos do. It's really cool.
Totally. I just saw something which kind of bothered me. So if you guys saw that, don't do what I did, which is I'm using like 2 different colors. I'm using gray here for these chevron icons. And actually what I want to do is use this green. And so, oops. Let's do it this way.
Did it do it?
I'll just do it this way. Yep, there it is.
And here's another like cool little feature. Should actually work out just fine. So you have, if you wanted to see where a color is being used, you could do a highlight on canvas. So here's another thing. It's like I have 2 different greens here. Well, where am I using this green? Highlight on canvas.
Whoa.
Doop. And it will highlight it. Again, I don't know where it is, but it highlights it in these spots.
Oh, I
Again,
see
it's kind of hard to see, but let's do even this. Highlight on canvas. I can see it's highlighted right here.
Whoa.
And you can do that for any of these elements. So it needs to have a highlight on canvas, and then if you could do a Command 3 to locate it would be cool, but that's where actually I'm using that text.
That's awesome.
Anyway. A lot of that sort of jumping from your assets to your document back and forth. Oh, Steve, XD is the best design tool ever made. We're gonna go ahead and quote you and put that right on the homepage of Adobe XD, if you don't mind. We're gonna quote you, we'll put it right there. Like, it's gonna be like movie reviews.
Perfect.
XD is the best design tool ever made. Steve Anthony. Thank you, buddy. Ekaterina, there's no feature in XD that gives you sort of color options or a triad of colors. A good idea. There's ways to get colors into XD. You could use Creative Cloud libraries, which are captured from Adobe Capture or whatever. But yeah.
All right, so let's
you throwing out some other, are we learning some more things?
Oh, yeah.
Are we learning?
Check this out. So we've got agaves in here now. I mean, the photo has yet to be swapped in, but we've got aloes, echeverias, which are one of my favorites, and haworthia is another one of my favorites.
Echeveria.
So what I'm going to do is just make sure this paginator looks right across all of them.
Oh yeah, Julian as well, yes, animate, because as you're even starting to prototype these, having an animation transition, or like magic move, if you will, in Keynote. Yeah, don't worry, we're working on that. And yes, being able to animate content.
Totally.
It's looking good. But this is the thing, like, and that's why I'm glad you're working on this, because eventually you're going to swap out those images and see how the colors work with those images.
Totally.
Chances are, I mean, right now it's absolutely perfect. But what if you put in a murdered out plant?
Oh man, yeah, it would tweak things.
It's going to look really good, actually, probably. Murdered out.
I gotta show you one later.
Yes, exactly. That's Howard. That's funny, Howard. Succulent or Harry Potter spell. That's the game.
Succulent or Harry Potter?
It does.
Oh, haworthia?
Haworthia sounds like a Harry Potter spell.
A little bit, little bit. Oops, I got the wrong one.
Yes, Steve Anthony XD has a gradient tool like Illustrator. So it's kind of a little bit hidden, but actually can you point it out right there for under solid color right at the top? Mm-hmm. Click on that drop down. That's where you access linear and radial.
Oh my god, this is so cool.
So
I'm gonna gradient my button after this.
Oh man, oh. That's what I was hoping you would do. I mean, I just because like gradients, of course, hot right now, right?
Yeah.
And I will judge you on your gradients.
Please don't.
I'll probably be wrong, but anyway.
All right, so we're gonna do this.
Hidden gradient treat. And by the way, like they're active linear gradients and radial gradients. You can actually click on that linear gradient line and add colors that way.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. Oh, this is so dope.
Oh, and by the way, that gradient can be saved to your colors asset panel as well.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
I wouldn't lie to you, man. I would not do that to you.
Appreciate that. So let's just grab something light.
Like the actual gradient tool. Steve, I wonder what do you want in a gradient tool that maybe this doesn't get you. But the cool thing is like I'd probably take this gradient, I'd save it to your asset panel, and then tweak it to death. Oh, yeah. Right?
Got to.
Like we will tweak this to death. It's gonna be awesome. You probably want us to leave it alone. Oh yeah, so there is for XD for Windows PCs as well. Yeah, there probably is going to be, I don't know where that's at, sort of live previewing on a mobile device on Windows. You can preview it, but you have to typically save that file, and you're actually just opening up that file, so it's not technically live.
Sorry, let's make a couple style adjustments. What do I want to do here?
That looks good.
All right, let's just keep it like that. I'm not going to mess around with it too much.
Paul, that's a good question. As you can continue, I'm going to actually jump into kind of switching my screen because this is like questions about sort of features that are coming. So we just added dashed and dotted lines today, rounded corners, rounded end caps, things like that. But you can go ahead and provide feedback right here. So we can kind of click on that. That's going to take us to Adobe XD user voice. So this is where we'd take a look at sort of the feature requests just to see what's at the top of the list today. Animate individual elements separately. So that is what we're working on. I know in here is bullets and numbering as well. I would just have to see where it is. And honestly, I could just do a quick search on it. So yeah, that's what's coming. You can kind of check that out. Be super cool. And yes, Alex just walked in. He's our next guest. Alex, how you doing?
Good, how are
Yeah, all right, good, doing well. Full day. He's getting ready. He's doing stretches. You can see him over there. He's doing some push-ups.
A lot of push-ups.
One-handed, by the way. One-handed push-ups. Just getting ready.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be good. So. Oh, look at that.
I'm so excited to plug this in. All right, let's find our agave. Oh, look at that.
Oh, I see. So like maybe, Steve, you're saying a gradient tool, you can kind of click on a box and just like give it a gradient. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's different ways of doing like the same thing, but I like it. Being an Illustrator user, I'm into it. Oh, we're getting, that's a gorgeous one too.
Oh yeah.
Why do these all look like so gorgeous? Like,
They just are.
the photos are, please teach me how to keep them alive. I want mine to look that good.
So these are actually like old. This is an agave right here. Agaves live for a super long time, like anywhere
Do they?
between yeah, anywhere between like 5 and 7 years, or sorry, 70 years. So the cool thing about them, the cool and sad thing about them is when agaves reach maturity, they bloom and they release this giant stalk, and it like becomes the size of a tree. It's like super huge, but when it does bloom, that's its end of its life.
Oh,
So-
wow.
so it's kind of
it
like-
just goes out with a bang.
Exactly. That's just like its last hurrah, you know.
Yeah, that's interesting. And but it just, when it blooms, when does it shoot up? Does it have?
It depends on the variety. So there's like, like agave tequilana, which is what people use to distill tequila from. Those take between like 5 and 7 years. So when you're drinking tequila, you're drinking like
What?
that's made from a plant that like took 7 years to grow.
Oh, really? And what do? You get it in the form of shot, which is the fastest way to drink that.
Exactly.
I'm not,
Exactly. So we're just plugging in our assets now, and we've got a lot of cool ones.
oh, an easier way to replace similar assets
Yeah.
across these pages. Probably, like, the best way to set this up would be to have, lots of various symbols. So that button down at the bottom is a perfect case for being a symbol, and you can also change the text on it, so the text can be,
Right.
yeah, so that's how you'd want, looks like you had, yeah, so you're doing your thing.
Yeah, this one's already in there as that one. So
And you can select a shape, select another symbol or whatever, and drag a symbol on top of it, and you can replace that one.
interesting.
Little things like that.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So, Carolyn, it doesn't have a links option like InDesign. Like, as you're bringing in these photos, they're all going to be
Place.
embedded inside of this file. So, which is good because you can move it around. You don't have to worry about broken links.
True.
The only reason you need a links panel is when something breaks. That's when you end up with a links panel.
Oh, so this is looking really
Ooh, oh, zinger! What are you doing? Goran does not like the gradient. Ah,
good. Uh-oh.
he's not a fan.
Oh, I'm getting
He
great.
used the wrong spelling for sucks, though.
Oh,
It should be SUCCS.
that's cool.
We're doing a succulent. Just if you are just joining us, we're doing a succulent app. Okay, for kind of like beginners or novices, like you're into succulents because you have killed all other types of plants in your house. So you're like, I'm going with succulents. What do I need to know about them? What are the different types? What's unique about them? So that's what we're working on now if you're just joining us. And you have about 10 minutes
Cool.
for the design challenge. So you can check out that challenge tab. It's gonna be creating one screen. You can see it right over here. You guessed it, challenge tab, scrolling down. Travel blog web experience. So one sort of screen showing, I don't know, your travels over 4th of July or something. Or if you're like Paco and you're crazy adventurous going to freaking climbing up some huge mountain and, I don't even know.
Classic
Taking
Paco.
amazing photos and everything. It's just like makes me sick. It's so good. It's really good.
How dare you adventure?
How dare you have all these crazy adventures and take these gorgeous photos? It's amazing. So,
So I'm just making some small adjustments right here.
This is what I'd want. I think Steph brings up a good point. Like, I'd want to know some key things about some of these, like, as we dive into this, and that's probably later on down the line.
Sure.
Like,
like into
like
each.
the quick things like watering and sun. Those are the two things I care about. Like the two things that I can do to help this plant survive.
Right. Yeah. No, those will be in the SDP, the succulent detail page.
Like, I want to know, like, there should almost be a graph or a bar or something like the odds that you're going to be able to keep this plant alive. The odds are really good because you don't need to water it and it doesn't need a lot of sun.
That's
like,
right.
That's like.
All right, cool. So check it out. We've got everything plugged in now. So we've got our Discovering Sucks page. Discovering Sucks. Just seeing one thing. Actually, let's just play it. You know, we'll just do it live.
Let's play it. Let's get this part started.
All right. So there's nothing. There's nothing down here yet, but
it's party time. THYNE. Sorry.
So here we've got it. We've got our carousel set up. You know, all about all the different genuses. Succulents are dope. No arguing that.
Mm-hmm.
Echeverias.
Beautiful, that Echeverias.
And then I've gone ahead and made it loop back, so even though this is like a disabled state, you can still see that it just goes back to the first one. Oh, look at that.
Oh, green thumb meter. I like that. Mark Oliver loves it as well. No, this is turning out.
So, you know, now that I'm looking at this, I'm thinking that we could probably actually also make, let's do this. Let's make a splash screen.
Good job, Giovanni. Great pun.
What is that?
Success rate is good. SUCC. Like, capitalized.
Oh, so good.
And Steve Anthony, yes, you might be winning something today if you enter into the challenge. It's probably the day one is the most straightforward of the challenges. We have another challenge tomorrow. Today it's just one screen. Tyler, do you think the fade transition is the best transition?
In this case, for the prototyping tool, yes, because we don't have horizontal scroll yet. So in this case, it'll be the one that'll give you the best illusion that it's actually a carousel and scrolling. And so it's just for an alignment tool. Like if we had horizontal transition or a horizontal scroll, we would want this to kind of come in and slide. Just this module and keep that, like the other components, you know, hopefully in the future we'll have a feature for being able to animate them independently. So you can be like fade in the title, fade in the description, like, you know, 2 seconds afterwards. So you can make like really slick prototypes. But in this case, like, you know, we're limited on options, and this gets us where we need to go.
Yeah. No, I agree, and that's what people have been asking for, animation, you know, being able to slide in the next picture. And that's why that's the #1 feature request, as we just saw. And we know we're working on it.
But the benefit of it is, like, you guys have been with us the whole hour. Like, we created this really quickly.
Yeah, you did. We just watched. You're doing all the work. We're just like, entertain us. I'm going to judge you on all your fonts and your gradients.
Please don't.
Colby, boom, submits a design. Oh, I'm going to take a look. I got the magic list. Colby and Sandesh. Thank you so much for. We need dotted lines. Guess what, Eric? Go ahead and update Adobe XD, and you will have dashed and dotted lines, because those are in there now.
Nice.
Did you know that? That just appeared magically. And just to show you as I dive into this, right over here, here's my line. Currently, you probably just have those 3. If you don't see these, just update Adobe XD. You could, again, round the ends, by the way. See the size is 5. I want to dash this. Something like that. Whatever. We can make this 12 and round those, and you get the obvious. So that's there now. Katrina, she's active in chat. She's just like in it to win it. She's like, she's a better host than I am. She's like asking you all these questions. James, what are you doing now? I'm just gonna read all your messages because she's good. This looks great too, by the way. What are you doing now, by the way?
So we're creating the splash screen for it because, you know, when somebody comes here, they're like, oh, what is this app? Like, you can't just start them on a homepage. Like, you know, we're going backwards a little bit. Like, this is the main, like, meat and potatoes. Well, I guess the succulent detail page is the main meat and potatoes. But you know, this is a nice to have to be able to say like, okay, you know, here's our app, here's what it's about. So we've gone ahead and just named it. This is a name that I've been sitting on for a while. It's called What the Succ.
Yeah,
and
perfect.
Here's the log line, which is a beginner's guide to succulent discovery.
Nice.
So we're just gonna go ahead and tweak some of these type values. We're just setting it solid at 90, but you know, maybe you want to go tighter.
Yeah, and is there, you know, does it need a logo or some sort of like title art? Is that kind of...
If we had time,
Yeah.
definitely we'd like be able to dive into the branding aspect of things. For this
Yeah,
demo, like
not right now.
we're just gonna typeset it, and
Yeah.
we're gonna lean brand it.
Okay, lean branding. I like it. I've never heard that term, but it totally works.
So a couple of things we're going to update in the prototype. We're just going to define this as the home screen now, so whenever we launch it, it'll start from here. And we will just say that it dissolves. And we're going to give it a little bit longer of a transition. Just to see what that looks like.
Is Proxima Nova, that's pretty much your go-to?
For sans serifs, like if you know there's no kind of creative defined, just because it's a solid workhorse typeface. It's got a lot of versatility, a lot of different weights.
Very cool. All right.
All right, so check it out here.
Eileen loves the name, and I would agree.
Oh, actually, you know what? I'm starting to see some like kerning issues. Let's tweak that. Oh, check this out. So I know that there's like, can we kern between letters?
That is a...
Oh,
yeah.
nice. We totally can.
Look at you.
So let's just tweak that. You know, do what we can for it.
Just to show that we know how and that it matters to us.
That way we don't get kern shamed. Just like
Yeah,
we've been
we don't want to
getting-
get kern shamed.
Please don't.
You ready for this, Alex? Alex is like, oh no, you could get kern shamed when you're on. Alex is up next.
Please
Or gradient shamed, or drop shadow shamed. No, just joking.
Please
I'm
don't.
kidding, I'm kidding.
Don't kern
Everybody's
shame Alex.
cool. But,
All right, let's play this bad boy. Boom, here we've got it. What the Succ? A beginner's guide to succulent discovery.
kerning hotkey should be the same, isn't it? If I hit Option Command minus plus. Wait, well, isn't that what it is?
You gotta hack it a little bit. So if you are gonna try to kern something, like you see some like
Oh, you got to put it in this field.
yeah, and I think this is
that
tracking. That's just
So-
character spacing. So what you gotta do
Yeah.
is highlight the specific character, and then you can like kind of faux kern it that way. But this will get mature as they build out the product.
Yeah, and any number field, you can just select that number field and use the arrow keys up, down. You should be able to go Shift key will bring it up by 10 points, right? And then you can also, and again, I'm just kind of tweaking that a little bit, but also you can do, you know, what's, you know, sort of times, times, you know, 5, for instance. So you do any sort of math operations in there.
Nice.
So, the UI guy. Good to have the UI. Somebody's name is actually the UI guy.
Love it.
Hello, good to have you here.
Wow.
Hello, as I like to say. Hello.
All right, so let's test drive this. We've got What the Succ, beginner's guide to succulent discovery. Discovering sucks. Succulents are dope. So it's all about the different genuses. Starting to just like see all the different stuff in here. And because we're a little bit ahead, we can go ahead to like, you know, the question next is like, what happens next? What happens when you click this giant button? And those are the views that are going to be required for us to build out next. So those are probably
I just noticed now that the text on the buttons changes for each section too, for each discovery like plant.
It does.
Which is cool. And by the way, so that's the same, I don't know if you're using a symbol, but you obviously have different text even though it's tied to the same symbol. Just as an FYI. Karen Diaz, welcome back. It's good to have you back. Good to have you here. Good to see everybody's shiny avatar pictures, all that good stuff. Hanan, good to have you here as well. Awesome.
So here's what we can do next is we can just start wireframing out the next view, which is what I call the genus detail page.
So when you're, again, we're kind of down to our last second actually for the submission deadline.
Okay, cool.
You're still going to need to give me a second because there's quite a few. I'm going to open up these in a second.
Sure.
But feel free when you're working on these different design challenges that we'll have today and tomorrow. Feel free to use Adobe Stock, like as mentioned. You don't have to purchase any of those assets. Like, have fun with it. It's really, we're just giving you a reason to play around.
Cool.
And Michael Campbell just got here, so if you could just start from the very beginning.
Oh, yeah,
Just
sure.
kidding, just for Michael.
Oh.
No, I'm joking.
I was ready.
He was ready to go in. This is how nice this guy is. Like, yeah, I will accommodate you.
Oh, Michael, I know him. Hi, Michael.
Do you know Michael?
Yeah.
We're glad you can hang as well. If you could just start from the beginning, that'd be great.
Oh, great.
Just kidding. But I think it's looking really good.
Yeah, so for those of us just joining, we are creating a succulent discovery app today in Adobe XD. We've gone ahead and generously named it What the Suck, a beginner's guide to succulent discovery. So it's all about diving into the different genuses and kind of getting into the different varieties upon going deeper. And as we already mentioned before, this is by no means a comprehensive list, just a means for the enthusiastic succulent gardener to get their feet wet.
I like it. Thank you so much, Rodrigo, Alistair. Everybody's submitting theirs, and they're coming in hot because we just got about 8 of them that came in.
Nice.
Just under the wire. I want to give you a shout out as well. Just if you include your name when you publish the project, that'd be great. So we can just give you a shout out. All right, Omar, you are right. Omar's pretty active, I think, Gus, in submitting, isn't he?
Yep.
So that's good. Well, if you are working on that, let's get some of these loaded up.
Sure.
Sarah Stewart just walked in as well. Hi, Sarah. Sarah's going to be up next as well.
Hey.
With good old Alex Banaga. Am I saying that right? Banaga?
Yeah.
Perfect. He's over there. Now he's doing handstand push-ups. It's amazing. This guy is unbelievable. Getting ready. His prep routine's out of control. Oh, Nushalan, awesome. So when I show yours, would love to hear you just kind of speak up. That'd be great if you're tweaking that. But I also want to show you these fancy ones. So let's dive into these submissions. So it was all about creating a travel blog web experience.
Wow.
Doesn't have to have any, it's just one page really, but it could be as many as you want. You can see right here, the adventure of a lifetime.
Wow.
Look at this, right?
This is gorgeous.
Great photo. Love, I don't even know what that is, but I like it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's an A and an L. Adventure of, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
Travel blog.
Oh, I love it. It's
Click.
It's going somewhere.
Ah, see, this is the power of photography.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Paco probably has this shot somewhere on in his Instagram. Green is definitely the best color. Oh, well done.
That's so gorgeous.
Well done. Great job. Don't know whose this is. Just be like, hey, this is mine. So, yeah.
Look at that pagination indicator, the 2 out of 4. That's so
Ooh,
beautiful.
This is really beautiful.
Right.
You're right. That is super nice. And that could even be like linkable as well. If you wanted this to also be the next button, you could do that.
Totally.
Great job. It's fantastic. Okay, next up we have Colby's. Awesome. Fantastic. In fact, this is one of 4 screens. Let's go full screen now. Let's find some plants. We are in Orlando. Perfect. Let's find some succulents. Oh yeah. Is that what type of plant is that one? Do we know?
That is, yeah, I think it's a FabFitFun. It looks like FabFitFun compactum, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's exactly right. It's not quite murdered out, but a little murdered out.
Yeah.
And that's it. Again, good job, Colby. 4 of 4 screens. You did 4 screens. This is awesome. So way more than you had to. Let's dive into the next one. We have...
Wow. Look at that photo.
Ooh, okay, so this is good. Let's go full screen with this bad boy.
This is gorgeous.
My favorite Oregon destinations. Scrolling down, recent posts. Wow. This is a nice landing page.
It's a gorgeous page, yeah.
These great shots. Here we go. Pagination, kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Gotta check the gram.
Check the gram.
Gotta do it.
Check the gram. I want to check your Instagram because this is some really strong work as well.
Totally.
Right up here. I don't think there is a... I think there's just one page. Let me kind of... Yeah. Perfect. Meet the requirements. Go on to the next one. Travel blog. Again, making me sick. This is really cool.
This is beautiful. This is Playfair. I recognize the ampersand. Look at that type pairing. No type pairing shame here.
Very nice and clean and easy to navigate. I like these little details. Like that's the social media.
It's a beautiful design.
Yeah. Great design, great photo, great use of typography, making that white right there. Just like, you guys, you know what you're doing. Definitely. Okay. Next one. How to shop like a local.
Look at this.
Must visit places in Thailand. This is always really like, this is pretty brave to do some of this like half on and half off, I think. I like it, but it's just such a bold move, I think, you know, because it's easy to put something in a box, but to have it half on and half off,
right?
You know.
It's very David
So
Carson.
yeah. Looks like we have a right justified, which is kind of rare that you see that.
Right.
Next one, travel blog. We have 2 pages here. Let's see if I can find that. All right. In fact, I should be using, yeah, there we go. Use my arrow keys. If the pages aren't linked, you can use your arrow keys to advance to the next one. And this is what we have. Zim Tours. Cool. Cool. Next page. Zoop. Cool. You can actually have fixed content. So right here, you could actually fix that menu to the top if you want to. But yeah, this looks good. Like even in this case, you could fix the background. Like what if this background was fixed and then you scroll the content and the content scrolls over?
Oh, that'll be perfect.
Right? So just some ideas. Great work. Next one. Let's explore. Explored. I love the spelling. Good photos.
Lovely.
Tonalities, pretty close to being the same. These are like a little brighter.
Yeah. Oh, look at that diagonal.
Yeah, that's interesting too.
Yeah.
Kind of jutting out. Nailed it with the colors.
Oh, look at that gray.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, that works. I almost like, should this be aligned with that?
I think maybe there's like some intentional tension there.
Okay. Good call. All right, we have 2 more. You're right, Thor. This is some good work. We have this travel blog. Looks like 1 page. Perfect. Dive into it. Nice rounded corners. Nice and clean. A little subtle drop shadow. Just kind of set it off. And yeah, works for me. Next one. Untitled. Full screen.
Nice.
So this is what I really like. Doesn't that look good?
Yeah.
With that background panel is the background blur, right? Which another little pro tip, you could use background blur and make the blur 0, and you could adjust that. You could use it to adjust brightness and contrast of something.
That's perfect.
So but here this just makes everything look good, doesn't it? Make it just super awesome.
Totally.
You know, you kind of wonder if it was like a wide image how it'd show up, but I think it looks great. Cool. Some people might be using UI kits. I don't really know. I'll have to take a look.
Sure.
But I'm gonna assume all this stuff is original. Cool. And this is what some people might have done too, because you could actually, once you publish out, you can actually update your published item as well. So I could like refresh this and it could be updated.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Which is awesome, because I've always wanted to do that as a designer. You know, I misspell things. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh shoot, I need to get that back to them. Like, you just update it.
Totally.
But we have some great designs as I hit refresh here. Some really strong ones. Oh, Heba. Yeah, that is good. I think Heba and I were together and we're like, oh, that's a good little, I think we kind of discovered that together. The use of using background blur to adjust brightness and contrast. So this is what makes it tough. I can't believe, what, an hour and a half in and you have all these amazing designs.
That's all they...
Like an hour and a half.
That's it?
I feel so lazy.
Yeah.
Oh, Christina, you saw the first one on Dribble already. I don't really have time to like do all the research on whether these have already been built or not. We definitely know Colby's is original. Like, he definitely made this because this is like on point. Yeah. It's kind of travel related, but it kind of took went down the succulent plants route, which, you know, works. All right, cool. Aaron, good to see you as well. Yes, Giovanni, stiff competition. That is right. But we got to get these narrowed down. I'm not sure how we do this, but I can get it narrowed down. You can get it narrowed down. I'll kind of want to knock out a couple. Like this one's strong, but I think compared to the others, it's probably not going to fly.
Sure.
Right. Especially this one. The only concern here are these two images being in. This is a washed out tone, and I feel like these need to be the same, but this diagonal is working for it. And feel free to jump in here. This one's good. This is a tough one. Not a huge fan, but. And maybe you just know which one is your favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I'm keeping it close to the chest right now, but
you are.
If you want me to share it with you.
Well, you do get the opportunity to pick the winner and just break everybody else's hearts. So thanks for that. Just joking. And then this one's super sharp.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Let us know what you think. Chris. Gus, I'd like to totally know what you mean. Why is XD still so buggy? I have no idea what you're talking about, but feel free to share it with us because freaking, I encourage you to try to break it. I just haven't been able to. Okay, so Nicholas, we might need to check the Explorer's landing page, that link. Can't really do that now, but what do you think? How we doing?
Oh, you want me to make a decision?
Yeah, I'm getting it narrowed down to like my favorites.
Okay. Well, let me know what you want me to weigh in.
There we go. I have my top 6.
All right, give me, go through them one more.
Okay.
Give me once more around the block.
Sure, certainly. Beautiful layout, absolutely gorgeous. Love the background blur. Right here, this one's pretty good. I want to look for something exemplary to this one, and I'm not quite seeing it.
Sure.
There's this one. This one is pretty good, but again, it's pretty straightforward. Really clean. Colby's. Gotta love you, Colby. Building it out. And then we have this one.
Oh, this is tough. All right, if we're gonna narrow it down, let's keep Iceland, Oregon, and this one.
Keep this one. Keep this one.
Yep.
These 3.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. That one could be tightened up more. That one's pretty good, but compared to these 3, these are our top 3. Iceland, Oregon,
and then green is definitely the best color.
Green is the best color. And this one just had a nice,
it's really beautifully designed.
Yeah. All right, well, pick a winner. It is up to you. Which is your favorite? Feel free to chime in, everyone. Iceland, Oregon, or we'll just call it green. This last one. They're too big to put up on the screen as well. Giovanni likes Iceland. Let us know which one's your favorite.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
I think I got to give it to Iceland.
Iceland it is. Iceland is our big winner. Congratulations to whoever made Travel Blog this Iceland design. It is super tight and gorgeous. It just kind of shows what a photo will do for a piece, right? Look at that. Again, just the nice trim down the sides. And it looks gorgeous. Again, doesn't have to be robust to win. What is here is like spot on. And good job font pairing.
Oh, totally.
All right. Congrats, Christina Christina T. Christina, typography. No. Yes, oh, she's here and she says she's so happy.
Ooh.
I didn't even mention what she won, but she won 1 year of Creative Cloud.
Oh, is it Christina's?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, she gets 1 year of Creative Cloud.
It's gorgeous.
To you, Gus is gonna run it by your house right now and hand it to you. Just kidding, that's not how it works.
Right to
He's
Iceland.
like, no, he has to stay here. We need him. Sorry. So congratulations, Christina. Thank you so much to everybody. It's tough picking a winner, right? Because these are super strong. I can't believe like an hour and a half in, and this is what we got.
That's insane.
I feel sorry for Alex and Sarah and Jessica, everybody. You're going to have some really awesome designs today. I think you're going to be reviewing. So tough to pick is what I'm saying. All right, let's jump back to yours because I think you're doing a great job. You win your own little design competition because this is looking good.
Yeah, a little bit. So I'm just going ahead, I'm like moving along here. What I'm doing is just trying to wireframe out the rest of the next view that's going to come out. So trying to focus on getting the content on screen, but you know there's a lot of content, so making sure we just get the elements on the page.
Oh yeah, this is something that yeah, this is good to see too.
So this is one of my favorite features. Actually, they show you the fold right here when you're in the design view of for, you know, we're looking at iOS 6, 7, and 8 right, or iPhone 6, 7, and 8 right now, but like they'll actually tell you where you cut off. So I find that super beneficial because if you want to be strategic and like, you know, tell people that there's more stuff below the fold, you just like you know, have it cut off right there.
Yeah, that's perfect. There is hotspot hinting, Leon, just so you know, and it's actually available when you go to publish. So you have to turn on hotspot hinting if you want it on, because it's either, we give you that option.
So I'm gonna bring this back over because we created it earlier, and we'll just, oops, we want to keep that there. So it'll be something like this, and then
Cool.
here's an opportunity for us to actually use repeat grid, where we can also start to create different list views of everything.
Yeah, and you could do it with that body copy, like that title and that body copy. Is that what you're gonna do? Because you could use that as your elements to do the repeat grid on.
Huh. Okay, so we're gonna use different content, but I'm gonna, maybe you can change.
And you could change it. Yeah. It's like, and I think this is a good, different use case for repeat grid, which is perfect.
Okay.
So delete varieties because we'll just select that title and that body copy, repeat grid, click, drag that down, zoop, and we can change this content now.
Yeah, because it's its own item, right?
Yeah. So you might have to double click into it.
Nice.
And when you move that, if you decide you want it centered or something, it's going to change it for all of them.
And I can just ungroup it, right? If I want it to be independent.
Yeah. How do you want it to be independent?
I'm gonna use a different list view here.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You could always break it apart. I've seen some people like use repeat grid just to make something and then break it apart, just because it gives you like 5 of one thing.
Totally.
Rather than duplicate.
Oh, that's perfect.
Lex, what's up? Another one of our guests. How you doing? Lex is actually from Portland, so
Nice.
hopefully you liked that example that we've shown. We like being your distraction as well, Lex. Lex is the man. He's good. He's a good guy.
Awesome.
And he's using an emoji. I see you sneaking that little emoji in there. Today isn't it World Emoji Day? Am I wrong? Help me out here, people. Come on. Isn't it World Emoji Day?
I don't know, you tell me.
Yep. Today is World Emoji Day, so thank you for throwing that in there, Lex. Little wave. I'm into it. So, I might be doing a live stream on that later.
All right.
Michael, depends on where you are in the world. If you say yesterday was World Emoji Day, so I guess if it's after midnight.
So we basically have got this set up for...
Oh, that's interesting, Sandesh. Sort of the repeat grid. You do have a bounding box for that item, so if you do drop shadow, it might kind of cut it off.
I see.
Good point.
Cool. So this will actually be a good opportunity for us to repeat grid. So Yeah, this is kind of the gist of what we want. We want to have a list of all of these different varieties, but you know, we don't want to just repeat it if it's just all willy-nilly. So let's just tighten this up. And to do that, let me turn the grid on.
Yeah. So, Egan, welcome. The challenge is still going on a couple more times today. You can find that in the challenge tab. As for reviewing the entries, we'll do that on the live stream. Tightening it up.
A little bit.
I like it. Is that really the name of an Echeveria?
Oh, totally.
Black Prince. I'm into it.
That's so, dude, you want to talk blurt it out?
Again, like, Howard, are we talking about you know, succulents or Harry Potter themes? Like, I don't know what's happening here.
Look at this succulent. Look at how dope this thing looks.
It's murdered out.
Oh my god. Yeah, so check
It's
this.
like a burst of green. Ah,
So when you give this thing full sun, it gets super dark like this.
wow.
But it's got this like
Really?
this little hint of green, which lets you know it's still a plant.
Do you know if most succulents are edible?
They are not, unless I mean.
I mean, they're not poisonous.
It depends actually.
Like,
So-
what does that mean, edible? Like, I think anything could be edible. Whether it tastes good is probably another, like, I don't know. Poisonous depends.
Yeah, so there's
So pets. Oh, okay, gotcha.
and it's not particularly good for humans either. So there is a genus called Euphorbia, which has caustic sap. It's like white milky sap, which burns your skin and eyes and is not good for you to eat.
Wow. Okay, good to know. Little warning, we need this in the app. And you gotta watch out for your pets. That's a good call. So these like additional items that we can add, like, you know, how much water, like any of these warnings.
Totally.
Perfect. Oh, the rabbits eat them in your yard?
Some rabbits eat.
We're
Looks
kind of
like this.
winding down, by the way. We're probably down to our last like 3 minutes, just so you know.
Okay.
2 minutes,
All right,
something
well,
like that.
what's a
3
perfect-
minutes.
What's a perfect time to use repeat grid then?
Yeah. Ekaterina says you have rabbits in your yard,
I do.
of your house.
That's true, I do.
Can you, I would almost say that you, like, can you tell, like, you live out in the LA area or outside of LA?
That's right. Yeah, I live in a city called Tahunga.
And, like, what's your house like?
Oh,
I think this is fascinating.
I live in a geodesic dome.
Geodesic dome.
So it's like living inside a big ball.
Yeah, he lives inside of a big ball. Like, he always gets turned around. There's, like, there's no right angles.
Yeah, no right angles. You can't
It's hard of, which way is you gotta use a compass to find the door.
Exactly.
No, I don't know. I'm just messing with you.
can't really hang up any photos.
Can't hang up any photos.
So we're just,
Yes, Ian Williams, you're right. You are commander of design. Your work is magic. You are the Black Prince.
Oh my god, Ian's on the stream? Oh my god.
That's good. It's like people know you, or like, unless he's just like messing with you.
Hi, Ian.
Man, you're bringing a whole fan base here.
A little bit, I
I
guess.
can see why, man. I'm not surprised.
So I'm gonna create this, what am I gonna do here?
I would say just kind of do a last little tweak and then just show it off from the beginning.
Oh,
kind of
cool.
show everybody what you created.
Oh, sure. All right, so let's start from the top again. We'll just go ahead and play this
Yeah,
bad boy.
just 2 minutes.
So here we've got our splash screen, What the Suck, a beginner's guide to succulent discovery. Diving into the discovering sucks screens. Talking about the different genuses. Here we've got neonium on the screen. We've got agaves. We've got
Aloe.
aloes, echeverias, and
Ortha.
horthes. And so there we've got it. We've got, you know, pretty good.
Yeah, we have
amount
this
built.
all like laid out, and then we're gonna dive into what's the plan for tomorrow.
Tomorrow we're going to build out the genus details page, and if we've got time for it, we're going to build out the succulent detail page. So we've got the bones for it right here. So we're going to dive into the echeveria, and we're going to talk about the different varieties, and then we're going to dive into one of the different varieties and see what the different details are. And it's going to
Wow.
have those details that we talked about that I know you guys are asking for, like what are the watering needs, what are the light
All that.
needs, whether or not it might be poisonous.
Right? Yes. We want to take care of you. Yeah, you show up for some UX UI, you walk away learning about all these succulents.
No charge.
James, Sue, everyone, thank you so much, James. I'm so glad we're going to have you back tomorrow and the next day, Claire Tell Thursday. But did you have a good time?
Lovely time.
Awesome, man. Good having you. Thank you so much. And next up, we have Alex Benega with Sarah Stewart waiting in the wings. So stick around for them. More chances to win fun things and enter in some more challenges. So stick around, everybody. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.